we're going to put a 1 under the 4. We're going to put parentheses around quantity x plus 5. We're going to multiply it along the diagonals. So we have 4 times the quantity x plus 5 is equal to, multiply along the other diagonal, 1 times 2. We'll have to distribute on the left, so we have 4x plus 20 is equal to 2. We'll subtract 20 from both sides. 4x is equal to negative 18. We'll divide by 4. So we know x is negative 18 over 4, and that can be simplified to negative 9/2. We know that this value works. If you set the denominator equal to 0, the quantity x plus 5 equal to 0, you get x is negative 5. And as long as we don't have that answer, we're good. Because if we had negative 5 as one of the answers, we'd cross it off and say it's extraneous. Because if you plug negative 5 back in for x, you'd have negative 5 plus 5 is 0, and 2 over 0 is undefined, and you can't have that. Let's look at the next one. So for the next one, it's similar. It says 1 over quantity x minus 7 is equal to 2. Put a 1 under the 2. Okay, so we'll put a 1 under the 2. We'll put parentheses around quantity x minus 7. We'll multiply along the diagonal. So we have 2 times x minus 7 is equal to the other diagonal, 1 times 1. Distribute, so we'll have 2x minus 14 is equal to 1. We'll add 14 to both sides. So we have 2x equals 15. If we divide both sides by 2, we have x is 15 over 2. And that's our solution. If we set the denominator with x equal to 0, we'd have x minus 7 equals 0. And if we solve for x, we'd get 7. So we would not be allowed to have that value. If we got some answers at the end, and for example, one of them also said 7, we would have to cross that one off and say that's extraneous. So the only answer for this is 15 over 2. Okay, we're going to look at this problem first. So we'll do this one and then we'll go backwards. First of all, we need to have same denominator, right? So I need to multiply this fraction by quantity x minus 2, and I need to multiply this fraction by x plus 2. So on the left, if we multiply the numerator and denominator by x minus 2, and we multiply the right by x plus 2, what I mean by right is that right fraction. Up top here we'd have 1x minus 2 plus 1x plus 2 over x minus 2 times x plus 2. So our 2's would cancel, and we'd have 2x over the quantity x minus 2 times x plus 2. And we have 4 over quantity x plus 2. Oops, didn't look good. 4 over quantity x plus 2, x minus 2. And we can cancel these denominators out. And the reason for that is if we were to cross multiply, right, we'd have 2x times x plus 2 times x minus 2. And then on the other diagonal, we would have 4 times x minus 2 times x plus 2. And we could divide out x plus 2, x minus 2 on both sides, and you'd still end up with 4 equals 2x. So when you have one fraction on the left and one on the right, and the denominators are the same, you can cancel them out because they would cancel when you cross multiply, and you're left then with the numerator. So 2x equals 4. If we divide by 2, we get x is 2. Now, remember what I said about checking for extraneous solutions. Any denominators that have x in them in the original problem, before you simplify and divide out factors, in the original problem you want to see if there's any x values that you can't have that are extraneous. So you set any factors with x in the denominator equal to 0 and solve. So I also have x plus 2 equal to 0. And when I solve that, I would get 2 and I would get negative 2. And those would be extraneous values. And you want to look at that in the beginning, because then in the end, when you get your answers, if they are those domain restrictions, right, then you've got to cancel out. So in this case, we would say there's no solution. Okay, last problem. So this last problem is similar to one that we did in class. It's a word problem. And we're going to look at rate of water filling up in a pool. So it says that it takes 12 hours total time to fill a pool with 2 different pipes, where the water in one is 3 times as fast as the other. How long is it going to take the slower pipe to fill by itself? So we know the total, right, is 1 over 12. We write 1 over 12 because the bottom, the denominator, represents the time, right, 12 hours, and the top represents filling a pool, right? It's a rate. So to fill one pool, it takes 12 hours. But this pool was filled by 2 different pipes. So the first one is the slow one and the fast one. Together, we're able to fill this pool in 12 hours. So the slow one, there's a slow and the fast. Now we don't know the time for either. So we can't, for example, over here, for the total, we know the pool, the one, was filled in 12 hours. We don't know the time for either the slow or the fast, so we're going to use a variable. We know that one fills at x rate, so at x time. The other takes 3 times as much time, right? Well, 3x represents more time, so it makes sense that the slower pipe is going to take more time. So the slower pipe is 1 over 3x. Therefore, the faster pipe fills at x time. Now we're going to solve. So we need to multiply this right side by 3. So we'll have 1/12 is equal to, the denominators are the same on the right, it's 3x. And the numerator, we have 1 plus 1 times 3, or 3, which is 4. We can multiply along the diagonal. So we'll have 1 times 3x is equal to 4 times 12. So 3x is equal to 48. If we divide by 3, we get 16. Now let's be careful. 16 represents the time for the faster pipe, but the question said how long will it take the slow pipe to fill a pool by itself? And the slow one is 3 times as much. So the slow pool would take 3x, or 3 times, if we found x was 16, which is 48, and we'll add the units time. It's 48 hours.